Hello there and welcome back to Knights of the Nerd Republic. I'm your host, Jared the Dark Jedi Bachman Stubbs, and joining us this week is a full-ass house. We have Joel the Sentinel Basin back.
Hello, everybody. How's everyone doing?
We have the Professor Levi Baum himself.
Oh, yeah, boy.
We have everybody's favorite Manic Sith Lord, Darth Id Michael Dolan.
Hello.
We have the Lore Keeper Connor Chikiti.
Hello there.
And we have Spence the Mando Simpson, who's currently on Mandalore. We also have the one and only Michael Condon, the Condor himself of Toomedtoo, joining us on Knights of the Nerd Republic this week.
Greetings. Thank you for having me.
Yes, thank you very much. Have fun with all of that clip fixing, Joel and Travis. Up top, before we get into the news and everybody's week so far, you want to take some time to introduce yourself to the Knights of the Nerd Republic listenership. I don't want to go that far to say fan base. They put up with us at best. But tell everybody about yourself and what you do in the Star Wars sphere of online media.
My name's, you already said it. My name is Michael. I have a YouTube channel. It's the Toomedtoo Star Wars Network. On there, the main flagship of there is Toomedtoo's Bacta Tank. Every Monday night, I do a live stream, and it's pretty much anybody that wants to come on and talk Star Wars can come on. I use StreamYard, so it's really simple. All I do is if you want to come on, I send you a link, and we just sit around and talk. It's not set up like most podcasts or things of that nature that are pretty much structured. There's really no structure. It's whatever you want to talk about. It's like if you were going to go meet your friends at a bar and talk about Star Wars. Some people sit at the table for the entire time and talk. Some people just walk by and say one or two things. So, that's kind of pretty much what I was going for. What happened is I had a YouTube channel. I wanted to make some Star Wars friends, and this is about 2 years ago. And I was like, I'll just start a YouTube channel. And within a couple of weeks, I got invited to hang out with a bunch of podcasters. So I kind of went from nothing to being up there with some, what I consider some pretty heavy hitters in the podcasting YouTube world. And kind of just took off from there. And then I took a little break for about a year. I went to Celebration, and I came back and I was like, I want to start doing my channel again, but I didn't really know what to do because everything I try to do news, I try to do little segments and big segments and interviews and everything, and nothing really worked. And then I was sitting at the bar the one day, and one of my friends was like, I didn't know you like Star Wars. And I said, I didn't know you like Star Wars. And that's where I was like, this is what I want to do. I just want to talk. And then I found StreamYard, and it was the perfect thing because you don't have to worry about Skype or inviting people in and any of that BS that goes along with it. And that's just kind of how it took off from there.
Wow. Yeah, I love that. I have watched a couple episodes. I've never had any of my gear around to actually join properly and have it not sound like garbage. But I absolutely love the whole riff session format you have going on, and it's very unique. The structure to it, I think a lot of people can learn a lot from just kind of having a riff session, and I love that.
Well, it's great too because it's set up where if you have a microphone, you can get on, and I've had people talk to me from their cars while they're driving. I did my interview with Dominic Pace. He was driving his car because things got messed up. He had to go pick up his son from as an emergency, and so he was like, "Do you mind if I talk to you while I'm driving back from picking him up?" And I said, "No, go ahead. That's fine." I've had people talk to me while they're cooking dinner, so there's pots and pans clanking in the back. I would prefer that not be like that, but it's not like a professional show that I'm trying to win awards for or anything.
It adds its own character for sure.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. I like that.
With that, I'm going to quickly touch on everybody's week since we do have a pretty big panel here. Michael, how was your week?
Oh, Michael, me? Are we?
Yeah, you,
yes,
Michael. Yeah.
Yes, Michael.
Sorry.
Okay. I would say it was somewhat uneventful. I'm still working. According to the governor of New York, I'm still considered an essential member of society. So I get to ride the subway every day. It's kind of a double-edged sword. I'd like to be home and doing more live streaming and playing Fallen Order and hanging out with Star Wars friends. But
that's got to be one of the greatest validations of your existence that you can possibly come across, is that the governor has deemed you an essential person. Like I got little warm fuzzies just hearing you say that, and like I'm not even one of those essential people, you know.
Well, it doesn't take much to be an essential person right now. I mean, some people that really are. I mean, that's what getting the whole thing. I'm an essential person, but some people that really I think are essential people. I listened to his press conference that he gave yesterday, and they don't even know what the hell is going on, because someone asked, well, what about laundry services? Because here in New York City, we don't have washing machines in our houses and in our apartments.
Okay.
You know, everybody goes to a laundromat, and then do we have to drop can we wash our laundry ourselves, or do we have to drop it off for them to wash? That way the exposure is much less if you're just dropping it off versus hanging out in the laundromat with people. And he said, we don't know. And then someone said, well, what about Geek Squad? You expect all these people to work from home, but they need people to work on their computers. And he said, I don't even know what Geek Squad is. So I mean, that just goes to show you how out of touch the governor is.
Uncultured swine.
I know, and I mean, GameStop maybe should stay open so that us nerds can go get our video games if we don't get them online. And they
have the crowd that's notorious for not showering go places. That's a wonderful idea.
But I mean, once our checks go out, somebody needs to take that $1,000 check and go buy a new big screen TV or a new computer monitor. So we need to have those stores open.
Right. Well, I will tell you that I'm jealous that New York has deemed wine and spirits essential to human life.
Yeah.
Pennsylvania has not made that move quite yet.
Yeah, Joel just turned 21 and he's been on like a 3-week bender.
Oh my gosh.
Well, I think that would probably be one of the biggest problems if he shut down liquor stores, because that people would go irate over.
Oh, that's happening already.
Yeah, all the liquor stores are shut down.
Corona would be gone in like 2 weeks if that were to happen.
I will tell you though that the beer distributors are open, but liquor stores are closed.
Okay, because our liquor stores are still open in New York.
So if you're really, really, really desperate,
I'll drive to New York.
You can
just do some prohibition type stuff.
I was gonna say
like
you can go to Sheetz and crush a Four Loko into your system if you really need to feel it.
I need the good stuff.
You need the good stuff.
Does Sheetz exist in New York?
No, but I know of Sheetz because I lived in North Carolina for about 10 years before I moved to New York City.
So they are
I'm originally from. Quick overlay of my whole life story.
You're from Ireland?
Born and raised in Buffalo, New York, and then
that was close. All right. Yeah, Buffalo rocks. Yeah.
It's a great place to visit. It's starting to become a better place to live now that the world's going to hell. But
Yeah.
I moved and then I lived in North Carolina for about 10 years, and now I've been in New York City for 8 years, I think. So.
Wow.
Oh.
All right.
That's cool.
Which one do you like most? Which area?
That's a really tough question, because I like going to visit my friends and family when I go to New York or to Buffalo, but there's really not a lot to do there. North Carolina, I lived in Raleigh. That's really nice if you're raising a family or if you're in like the IT field. And New York City's good because there's so much stuff to do. It's just, it does get a little overwhelming sometimes, especially when you have people that come to visit. And I always call it doing stupid New York shit, because people, I want to go to Times Square, and it's like, you don't want to go to Times Square.
Yeah.
Pick the most, it's like, pick the most disease-infested, wretched hive of villainy on Earth, and that's what it is.
Yeah.
But
and that's why right now, if you go to Times Square, you see 2 people walking around in there.
Yeah.
Wow.
That must be a godsend.
Not guest Michael. How was your week? While you stare into the void.
The abyss and staring back at me now. It was what do you call it? Nietzsche. I was partying with Friedrich Nietzsche last night. Levi and I were looking at these weird ass paintings. We were talking about demons and angels and God. It was great.
what do you call it? But yesterday I had to also move out of my dorm, and it was extremely melancholy because when I walked across campus to go check my mailbox before I turned the key, and I walked back, like walking back in the springtime, it gets so beautiful there in the springtime. And then there's this older man who might have been a custodian, might not have been. He had a dolly, and he was like, taking the last walk. And I'm like, yep. And he's like, bittersweet, isn't it? And I'm like, yep. And I'm like, it was too soon. So I don't know if that dude, he's probably like a supernatural being. You know, he probably wasn't even like a human. Yeah. You know, he's probably like put there by like, you know, I mean, I bet St. Vincent leases angels to come and give people like, you know, pleasant experiences, you know, when they're there. So that guy was probably supernatural.
The Wanderer.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Like,
Guest Michael, I hope you know this is just a normal Saturday for him.
But I had to...
I was going to say, that sounds about right.
But yeah, like it was just really, it sucked like having to leave. But then right afterwards, I got an email from the school saying, don't come to the school to get your crap. Like they had just literally locked down campus, like locked down. So I got my crap out just in time.
Yeah, well, mine's still at
it's still
university.
Yeah, Joel had to turn tail and run from the CVC.
That sucks. I hope it opens up soon. I hope people.
Yeah, if you want that full story,
listen to Campus Life
guest
in 2
Michael.
weeks.
Yeah, just listen to Campus Life because it's quite the.
Levi, how was your week, buddy?
It was good. I am patiently awaiting for the new rework in League of Legends to kick off.
Yeah.
Watch the trailer. They reworked Fiddlesticks, who was like a derpy living scarecrow. He would throw crows at you.
He was
dumb
OP as all AF.
In the beginning, but now he.
I haven't played. Disclaimer: I haven't played in like 3 years. So.
Now all the new champions are broken as hell. So now.
Right. I heard there was a Wukong rework,
and it was broken, and they actually had to do an emergency patch.
Nice.
To fix it.
Well, Battlefront 2, like the newer one, had that problem. I think it was like a year or two ago. Like there were all these problems with Palpatine. Like he like at first it was like. He's useless. Like, you know, the lightning has no range. You can't use him. Yeah. And they fixed him. It's like, oh, you can shoot lightning through walls now. And then like
unlimited power.
And like there came a point where like not only when they tried to fix the lightning through walls thing, it also turned into like the lightning now started auto aiming.
Oh god.
So like they accidentally put an aimbot on Palpatine. So like he just load in and you could just spray and pray with the force lightning and you kill everybody.
Yeah, so Fiddlesticks is now gonna be scary.
Yeah.
They changed his lore a bit. He's a legit demon. He mimics the last words of all his victims before he eats them. So that's what I was doing.
Oh.
It's in the house!
That's always a good time.
Oh, it's beautiful.
I saw a Wendigo at his house too. There was like this tentacle thing outside his window.
That's not a Wendigo, but I'm glad that there was
But it was
Wendigo
like
Well, how do you
happening.
know? Have you seen a Wendigo?
I've heard legends of the Wendigo and I've not heard many tentacles.
I've only heard the stories.
It might have been an antler.
Yeah.
Could have been a antler.
Or it could have been a Wendigo with tentacles.
It could have been that.
Spencer, how was your week, buddy?
My week was kind of crazy as my ever conservative Christian school was trying to figure out how to respond to the Blue Shadow virus crisis.
Blue Shadow virus!
Yeah, Grove City's weird.
For instance, they are like they were just very hesitant to send anybody home or to quit classes and stuff. So it wasn't until Tuesday night that they told us, okay, we're evacuating campus. Everybody be out by lunchtime tomorrow. And so it was like we had it. I make it sound like we had really, really, really short notice. They were just giving people the option to stay and most people were leaving. But then they finally just said, okay, nobody's allowed to stay. Everybody go home. So it wasn't that bad. I already had started packing. But so anyway, I made it home on Wednesday afternoon, started unpacking. Fun facts, the guy, Jared and Joel, you'll remember Jeb from last Easter time. He came home with me for Easter break.
Love Jeb.
Jeb is from Iowa, and he really did not want to go all the way home because he figured he'd be, bored as an old brick on the side of a highway. And that was my fear from being home for this whole time as well.
Jeb with you?
So Jeb came home with me, and it kind of worked out perfectly for both of us because now we're not, by ourselves and we can keep each other occupied. And since Wednesday evening to now, we have, similar to what you and I did, Jared, we have played through the entire Lego Lord of the Rings game twice.
Yeah, that's a great game. Yeah.
So we burned through the story in about 24 hours, and now we're going back for all the collectibles in the overworld and in the individual levels. So it's been real fun. We've been keeping ourselves busy over here. I've only showered once since I got home because I don't have anyone to impress. So basically, I'm just waiting.
Well.
Classes are supposed to start up again on Monday, so I'm just relishing the final few moments of freedom that I get. So,
Good.
If you need someone to impress, just
online
remember Jesus
or-
watches.
yes, he does.
He
Thank
also washes.
Yes, he does. Just the
Good
feet,
point
though,
about
Just the
washes.
feet.
because you should
Wash your
already
feet,
be
it'll be
clean.
fine.
Anyway, I'm sorry, Connor. What were you saying?
No. Are they just online courses?
Yeah, so we're doing most of our stuff through like Teams.
Okay.
So we all have to. It's like our weekly class schedule is going to be exactly the same, except we like video in instead, and we
Yeah,
type
that's
our
how mine-
questions in the chat. So
Yeah, that's how mine is. So
It also-
unfortunately.
it also turned out to be a bit of a blessing in disguise because I was really worried about a couple of my term papers, but since we don't have access to the library, the format for some of them have been adjusted to make it a little easier to tackle. So that's good, but it still kind of sucks to be away from school and stuck at home. But I've made a list. I was telling, who was I telling yesterday? But like, I'm the sort of person that starts a gazillion different projects and then never finishes them.
Yep.
But it's times like these when I'm really thankful I'm like that, because if I'm stuck at home for 3 months and can't leave, I will never be bored. There's always a project for me to work on. So that's my life.
Wow.
Connor, how was your week in the times of the Blue Shadow
Can't hear
virus?
him.
Well, it's been okay to say the least. I had spring break from March 9th to the 13th, and then literally we got the email. We got like a bunch of emails about campus about like classes moving online. Don't come back to campus if you don't have an off-campus internship, student teaching, or whatever. And it's just kind of been pretty uneventful. I hate online courses. But like, our campus hasn't officially closed down yet.
Oh, really? Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I'm holding out hope that maybe we can come back, but I'm thinking it's not going to happen. I'm really just hoping because in April, I'm supposed to give a speech on hope.
Oh,
And I wrote it about 2 months ago.
Oh.
Unsurprisingly.
You have to rewrite that.
It's all
I
about
did
the
not
coronavirus
rewrite- No,
now.
I'm not rewriting it. It's pretty much done.
Does it end with rebellions are built on hope?
No. Wow, it's even
Should.
better.
Revolutions are built on.
It's about Fallen Order, unsurprisingly. And I'm just talking about Cal and the quote, "Hope will always survive in those who continue to fight," and just like how that just pertains, not to me, but just how it could pertain to everybody. And I'm 99% sure I'm not going to be doing that, which sucks, because I was looking forward to that since last semester.
Connor, we will dedicate a special episode of Knights of the Nerd Republic so that you can just read it into a microphone.
Wait, what was it for again? Like,
What
Wait,
was
what
the
do you-
speech for?
Okay, so
Is what he's asking.
So my campus is pretty conservative. Is a pretty conservative Christian campus,
right, okay.
but not like overbearing conservative Christian. Like they're not like they're sort of in your face, but like not like totalitarian.
You won't get lynched.
Put it that way.
Yeah, that's I can relate to you, Connor. You know, we have restrictions, but they're pretty comfortable ones still, you know.
Okay. Yeah, and so our my campus ministry, they do these speeches for seniors that are called council conversations.
I gotcha. Okay.
Seniors, two senior speakers talk about like the golden counsels of St. Francis de Sales. And so like February was love, March is forgiveness, and April is hope. And I knew, and I went up to the campus minister, I think last semester, and asked her, "Oh, could you pencil me in for April for hope?" And I think she knew, and I knew right then and there, it's gonna be on Star Wars. But like she just knew. She said apparently I wasn't there for this, but apparently she was talking to a bunch of other classmates of mine, and then she was talking about that, and she said, "Yeah, he'll probably bring a really unique perspective." I'm like, "Yeah, it's pretty accurate." But like when I was writing the speech, I thought for some reason I had to like tie it back into Christianity in some way.
Right.
And I'm not a very religious person, although I get the benefit of it. So like when I was writing it, I'm like, I cannot do this. This is really hard. So I went to her office and just told her I'm struggling with this. And when she basically said, you don't really have to tie it back into Christianity and just write truthfully, that just lifted a weight off my shoulders. But then the other question was, where am I going to start with Star Wars? Because there's so much, and then bam, Fallen Order came in. I'm like, oh, easy.
And what better way than to do a school project than to talk about your boy Cal?
Yep. But other than that, I mean, I'm just holding out hope that we can come back on campus. I'm fine with online courses as long as I can come back on campus, because like literally the only thing that has been keeping me sane at home is Jedi Fallen Order. Yeah. I'm on my 5th playthrough right now.
That's awesome.
Oh my god.
I respect it.
And that's like a gigantic universe, so you go. Keep going, dude.
Yeah, I know it's not okay how much time I've spent. But like, I need the sanity.
Michael.
I'm still working on my first playthrough on it, and we've probably spent about the same amount of time, so don't feel too bad.
Mike, what game system do you have?
I have a PC.
Okay.
I'm quite a few years older than you gentlemen, and
as we could guess,
I bought an Xbox when they first came out in whatever it was, 2000 or 2001. That was the last gaming system that I bought. I only had that for a few months or about a year or whatever it was. And then I hadn't really played video games except for here and there at a friend's house or whatever. A little bit of Madden. And Fallen Order was coming out, and I was like, okay, do I want to buy an Xbox or do I want to buy a PlayStation? And at the same time, my dog knocked my laptop off of the table, and I had to buy a new laptop. So I said, well, I might as well just buy a gaming laptop and kill two birds with one stone that way. A gaming laptop that I bought specifically just to play Fallen Order instead of buying a laptop and a system, and that's kind of where I'm stuck at right now. But with work's weird because I work second shift, so it's really hard because I like to stream when I play, and I have a couple friends that we hang out when it's more of just hanging out while I'm playing, and it doesn't really fit into playing in the morning or playing late at night like I normally would if I wasn't streaming. So that's another reason it's taking me so long. And also, I'm used to playing linear games where I don't have these whole worlds to explore. And the first couple times that I played, I was trying to get it set up, and I didn't know I needed to set up the controller for the my computer, so everything was backwards and just a bunch of stuff. But yeah, so anyways, yeah, I'm way behind. But as soon as I finish this, I'm going to be getting into Battlefront. And now even though I'm still an essential member, now is a
great time to do that. Now is a great time to do that.
I need to re-download that.
Even though I'm an essential member, it's slowed down, so I'm going to start going down. I'm going down to 4 days instead of 5, and I'm losing a couple hours each day, so I'm going to have a lot more time now. I still have a job, so I'll still be making money, but I could sit on my ass and collect unemployment too, but whatever. So I guess you gotta count your blessings where they are. So
right.
But I'm going to have more time for streaming and playing video games, so I mean that's I guess a plus of this.
Yeah,
you gotta make what you have count.
And then I got to figure out how to. I guess I can hook up a PC with a PlayStation, so I can play with those people, so I'm not stuck on my own.
So.
Yeah, now's a good time to get into games. It's a very good time for it.
Yeah,
not a whole lot else to
definitely.
do. You know what else? It's a good time for.
Slowly going insane. Cabin fever, man.
Oh, we're all feeling it. But it is a good time for games, but it's also
each other.
a good time for TV. And
did we hear about your week or Joel's week?
I've been cleaning, and yes, your week. You told your really good week story on
Campus Life.
Campus.
So I think you should all, great plug, go listen to Campus Life, episode 1.
2.
Crap, yeah. Episode 2.
Where Joel is on the run from the CDC.
Right.
Joel, if you need math tutoring, hit St. Vincent up. I need the hours.
Right.
But with
it's
that,
also a good time for TV.
Yes, it is a great time for television. And what better TV shows to watch than Star Wars shows? Because this is pretty much the Ahsoka cast this week.
Yep.
Rosario Dawson to play Ahsoka Tano in the second season of The Mandalorian. Rosario Dawson has joined season 2 of The Mandalorian in a role which have Clone Wars fans brimming with excitement. The Briar Patch star has been cast in the guest starring role of Ahsoka Tano, Variety has confirmed. Tano is Anakin Skywalker's apprentice in the Clone Wars, we know all that, and has only been played thus far by Ashley Eckstein. Season 2 of The Mandalorian is slated to drop on Disney Plus in the fall, as confirmed by Jon Favreau. The second season was confirmed late last year. Favreau also previously revealed that Carl Weathers, who plays Grief Karga, will be in Season 2 as well.
Dope.
The rest, we already know what The Mandalorian is about. So
it's a bounty hunter.
Yeah, it's about a bounty hunter and an adorable baby.
Walmart.
Yeah, in Walmart.
Who knew the Mandalorian would actually pretty much predict our state
current predicament?
I'm just waiting on that mudhorn right now. I was
waiting for toilet paper to show up in season 2.
Baby Yoda's actually the toilet paper.
Oh no! Oh no! So this is great news as far as I'm concerned. Rosario Dawson is an amazing actor. She has been campaigning to play Ahsoka for a very long time. She was one of those first people who kind of got thrown around by the fans as a potential live action version of her, and she latched onto it. And anytime somebody made fan art of her as Ahsoka, she's been very keen to share it and pretty much be like, hey, Disney, hey, Lucasfilm, wink, wink, nod, nod, please cast me. So I absolutely love her as an actor. I think this is a great choice. I understand the people who were kind of upset that it's not going to be Ashley. However, I understand wanting to have a separation of actors and actresses for live action and animation, because I don't see anybody campaigning that if Anakin were to appear in anything new, that like, oh, Matt Lanter should be the one to play Anakin Skywalker. You have you have live action actors and voice actors, and that's not to say that there can't be overlap there, but I think this is a good call.
Yeah, it's kind of like when you get to the point yeah, it's good to have just different people for different stuff sometimes. I think Scorsese really screwed up when he used Robert De Niro and everything in The Irishman. It just kind of looked bad. It's like, just cast a younger dude at that point.
And you also don't have the very good de-aging CGI that Disney has a stranglehold on.
Yeah.
Rosario Dawson also kind of looks like Ahsoka.
Yeah, she has the cheekbones.
I could see that, yeah.
Yeah.
I think my one hope, which is probably not going to happen, and I'm completely fine if it doesn't, is I was talking with someone, and they were like, I don't want to say skeptical, but for lack of a better term, skeptical about like the whole voice thing.
Yes.
I was saying, oh, maybe they could do a Whitwer, Ray Park
I don't think
a dub over.
situation, but like,
Wait,
I don't think it'd be worth it.
Yeah,
I agree. I don't think you cast someone like Rosario
it kinda
Dawson and do that to her.
Rosario Dawson's talent a bit, and I'm like, yeah, that's fair. So like, I'm cool with it either. I'm cool with this either way, seeing Ahsoka in live action. But like, it's pretty much confirmed, right?
I mean, Disney and Lucasfilm haven't said anything yet, but like,
the
this is
major
not a
trades have
screen.
picked it up.
Yeah.
Well, as far as I know, I have a few points on this, but Clayton Sandell said that he can confirm a live action Ahsoka is in The Mandalorian, but he has no confirmation on who it is, except for the fact that it's not going to be Ashley Eckstein. So, I mean, that's coming from, ABC feeds him whatever they want people to find out pretty much, or, he's kind of, since he works for ABC, he's got the in. So, that's at least confirmed that there is a live action Ahsoka. We don't know who it is. So who knows? It could just be a completely false rumor. It could be true.
False rumor. Oh my god.
Well, I think we were also probably looking at a situation similar to what happened with like Robert Pattinson with Batman, where like there was maybe that 2 or 3 weeks that was like all of the major trades basically said we have it on good authority that he's playing Batman, and then Warner Brothers didn't say anything. And then they were like, okay, he's Batman.
And then Matt Reeves posts.
Yeah. So I think we're looking at a similar situation to that, where, there may not be a name on a dotted line quite yet on a contract, but for all intents and purposes, Rosario Dawson is playing Ahsoka Tano in The Mandalorian, which I'm very excited for.
If she is, this is one of the things also. Everyone's assuming that it's in season 2. She might have signed up for season 3, but if she is in season 2, it's most likely going to be towards the end. So they've already wrapped filming, and so it was going to be, was it going to be a reveal like at the end? Was it going to be like a Baby Yoda reveal where here's Ahsoka Tano that we didn't know who it was, or is she actually going to be playing? Is it a cameo? Is she playing a prominent role? So I mean, everything right now, you're Star Wars fans, one person says one thing and it all balloons up into everything. Yeah. She could have one line and just be featured right at the end leading into season 3, or she could have a couple episodes. We don't really know, and that's the detriment and joyousness of speculating on Star Wars. But I just want to one of my things was, I think it's great that she's playing it. I don't think they should have Ashley Eckstein do her voice. And I had said on the wonderful Twitter that I think it's great we have a cartoon voice and now we have a movie voice, and somebody said, well, what about Maul and Solo? And my response was, well, what about Maul and the Phantom Menace? Because that's a different voice. And then I said, well, what about Kenobi? Kenobi's got 6 different voices throughout Star Wars.
Yeah.
And then just being an asshole, I was kind of like, well, what about Aunt Viv and Fresh Prince of Bel-Air? They completely replaced the person. So no one's crying about that.
What about Aunt Viv? Wow. That's awesome.
But it's Star Wars. You take what you want with disbelief. This is where my thing coming. I'm one of those weird 40-year-olds that kind of takes Star Wars as is, because when I watched the first Star Wars, when I watched it as a kid, I take, they told me this was a blaster. I didn't ask how does it work. I don't need a 4-page article on how the physics of blasters and everything like that. I just take it's a blaster, it fires lasers.
Yeah, leave that stuff to Star Trek. Yeah.
Now if it comes out now, everyone wants to know. So, you need to, go with your disbelief and suspend, what you already know and just take it as it is.
Spencer, as the other Clone Wars hardliner here, how do you feel about this casting?
I think it's a great choice. Again, as Connor touched upon, I think my biggest hurdle is just going to be the transition. It's going to be getting Ashley Eckstein out of my head and allowing Rosario to do her thing, and for me to be like, okay, that's a great take. I like that. It's like Jared, I remember you talking about how like you had this problem with certain renditions of Batman or of like the Joker, where you get Kevin Conroy's or Mark Hamill's voice in your head for so long, and then like you get a different somebody and they're good. They're just like not what you're used to. It's not what you've grown to love so far. And so it'll take a little bit of adjustment, but I don't think it'll be a problem in the end. I'm really looking forward to it. I think a live action Ahsoka is a pretty good move here. I think as long as they don't go too far in trying to make everything interconnected, Ahsoka has now appeared in Clone Wars and Rebels, and also is now going to be in The Mandalorian. And I worry sometimes that they try too hard to complicate the storylines and like make the characters all over the place. But so far it doesn't look like that's going to be the case. So I am very optimistic about the casting and her appearance in the show. So
I think another good thing that Rosario Dawson has going for her, as far as like, fans who are going to latch on to like, no, it's Ashley Eckstein or nothing, this isn't my Ahsoka, is the fact that she's at a very different point in her life than she was in Clone Wars and even in Rebels, because now we're looking at what, everybody, Dave Filoni included, has lovingly referred to as Ahsoka the White. Because like she shows up at the end of the Rebels finale in that like whole white like she looks like Gandalf, like she was brought ostensibly brought back from the dead, coming back in an all white outfit with a giant staff, like it's Gandalf but Ahsoka. So like we might get a more enigmatic Ahsoka. We could get a whole lot of things from this new iteration of her. So I think that this is a good call. If we're going to bring in a new actor to bring this character to life, maybe the right time to do it is during a transitional period for this character, so that the fans, you may not have like something akin to the issue people have with Luke in The Last Jedi, where it's like, we went from seeing Luke issue as far as like people taking issue with it. That I love Luke in The Last Jedi.
I needed to poke fun at that.
Oh no, I agree. But like where you have the catapulting from like we have Luke at his prime, I am a Jedi like my father before me. And then we jump.
Need a laser sword.
Yeah, and we jump 30 years later.
What do you think I'm gonna walk?
And he's been through a whole lot of shit.
Gonna walk out.
Face the whole First Order with a laser sword.
Dude, I'll never forget. Someone lost, like in House Swift, someone lost their crap over the fact that Luke called a lightsaber a laser sword, and
it was perfect. It was what he was.
Oh, that's not the kicker. The kicker is that this guy was like, the term laser sword has never been said in Star Wars before. And I'm like,
yes, it has.
Anakin, 9-year-old Anakin says hi, the father of Luke Skywalker. Get out of here, my dude. But I digress.
So, Levi, you seem to be on board with Rosario Dawson taking a turn as Ahsoka.
Yeah, I don't care.
Mike, any...
I think it's exciting. I think it's a good choice. I don't know much about this actress, but I'm excited to see what she can do. But it's kind of interesting. Like we heard her at the end of episode 9. So what's going to happen to her?
That was my
not sure.
That's what I was hoping one of you guys would bring up is the fact that we know Ahsoka's dead. Like she is not alive.
Unless if they bring some lore in that you can like Jedi can with spirits talking
telepathy.
to. Yeah. So I mean,
it's
for God's sakes,
he's probably going to find some way.
Well, that's in the novelization. It says so with the whole Ahsoka being dead thing. They've said that she, just because you heard her voice doesn't mean she's dead. And then Filoni went and posted that with Gandalf and her. They thought I was dead and look what happened, or whatever that cartoon was. In the novelization, it says, I forget exactly what it is, but that Rey hears voices from basically the past, present, and future. So that doesn't.
So what if other Jedi are still alive?
That's
so I don't.
Then
have
they are dragging their feet right now because Rey could use a freaking hand right now.
Good point.
One of the other things about Rosario Dawson doing it is you have to think about how many people have seen the Clone Wars. And now we've all seen the Clone Wars and could probably talk about it and dissect it, but most of your population that even considers themselves Star Wars fans have no idea about it. So they're not even going to care that Ahsoka is not Ashley Eckstein. And, I still go by the general population is where you make your money off of, and not us that are going to sit around on a Saturday talking about Star Wars on a podcast or YouTube or whatever. Because even though we might all go see the movie 10 times, that movie theater is going to be full by people going to see it one time. Right. So, I still, and this is always an argument that no one can ever really back up with numbers, but I still think that it's the general population that's going to make a movie the money, which is probably kind of true if you look at how well they perform, or how well something like, not to compare it to, even though it's always compared to Marvel, how much money the Marvel movies make, and most normal people don't go see that movie more than once. And it makes twice as much as a Star Wars movie.
That's a good point, Mike.
I didn't see Avengers Endgame 8 times. What are you talking about?
I just want to say,
Fistos on calamari. Yeah, man. Like, we could have used your help. It's like, yeah, man. But look at the brownies, man. Yeah. I'm a Rastafarian. I watched Rastafarian Targaryen yesterday too.
Yeah.
From the game of the Game of Thrones, the musical thing.
Yeah.
I never saw that before. That was hysterical. Anyway, continue. Sorry.
While this isn't like 1-to-1, I just remembered the whole thing about recasting Han in the Solo movie. And, different look, different voice, and how mostly people took a liking to it, even though there was that sort of like disconnect because of Harrison Ford being in the role for so long.
Yeah.
And how it's kind of the same thing. It's not 1-to-1, but it's kind of the same thing with Ahsoka, that like we're also used to Ashley Eckstein. But like with Rosario Dawson, if she takes a new spin on the character and just plays it very well,
it doesn't help that their voices are kind of similar either. Like I know Michael.
Oh, they are.
I guess like Michael Doling.
What movies has she been in? Has she been anything I would know?
Have you seen Men in Black 2?
Yeah.
I've heard of it.
She's the Light of Zartha.
Okay.
Like Will Smith's love interest in that. Well, she's been in a lot of
that
work.
Really helps that their voices.
She's also in Rent.
According to you guys, are similar.
Oh, was she okay? Because I saw that once, but okay.
And she was in Rent. She did
Wait, which one was she?
A lot of the Marvel.
Lightning Thief.
Which one was she though?
She was in Hell.
She was Persephone.
Oh, she was Persephone. Oh, she's great. She's great. I love her. She's great. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Now I know who she is. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, she's the nurse in all of the Marvel.
Netflix all the Netflix shows. She plays Night Nurse. Yeah, I wasn't sure if you guys have watched like Daredevil.
Oh yeah, stuff. In Daredevil. Oh, yeah,
that's Night Nurse.
I didn't even put 2 and 2 together.
Yeah. So I like I said, I think it's another thing that she has going for her is that her voice is not dissimilar from Ashley Eckstein's. Like they both kind of have that high pitched voice. So gotcha. I don't think it's going to be too much of a disconnect. I also will say, Toomedtoo, Mike, I used to be a hardliner in the direction you're going in, where like you have to appease the general audience because the general audience is where you're going to make most of your money, because most people are normal human beings who don't get super sweaty about space wizards. However, I will say this much.
Space wizards.
The day that Solo decided to take a chance on Darth Maul's cameo, and the general public just kind of went, oh, that's interesting. And then they just kind of asked their Star Wars nerd friends, and like,
well, I mean, it was half, oh, that's interesting, and then my family was like super confused.
But you also got to figure, like, we live in the age of the internet, so like we do live in a society. So you do see like you'll have your comicbook.coms and CBRs and stuff like that do the big, explaining that cameo from Solo, a Star Wars story, or you have people like Star Wars Explained and Star Wars Theory and all those people who to varying degrees will take that time and be like, okay, the layman's, the people who don't devote a huge amount of time to Star Wars in the normal. I
don't devote much time.
I know you do. I want to say divulge and devote at the same time. I know, but
Should I start? Wow, how does one divulge?
You have to read all the visual dictionaries.
Yeah.
You have to read Jedi versus Sith. You know,
Levi,
all
I
the
deserve
essential,
that.
the
Thank
essential
you.
books, like the Essential Guide to Droids, Vehicles and
Yeah,
Vessels,
well, that's-
Characters,
yeah.
Essential Guide
Alien
to
Species.
Warfare.
And that's just the beginning.
Yeah,
You know,
at that
like,
point
you're looking
we'll
at my
let you in
bookcase
the
right
room.
now.
That room, you're just a novice. Yeah.
Right, that was great. That's my bookcase. But like, so, but there are those resources that somebody can very simply just type in Maul Solo explained, or do Ahsoka Mandalorian explained, enter, and then they have all they need.
Not been
So-
initiated to the higher mysteries.
Yeah, and then I think that's a great way. Like, I really wish Clone Wars was still easily accessible on Netflix or something whenever Solo came out, because I would have loved to have seen the numbers on Clone Wars' watch. I don't want to say watch time necessarily, but like watchership
Yeah.
right after Solo came out, for the amount of people who went, oh wait, Darth Maul's alive and he's in this show and this is the episodes where he comes back. Sure, I'll watch that. And like started watching Clone Wars because they realized that the continued story of Maul is happening here and in Rebels and so on. So I really do like to see Disney take big swings with Star Wars that makes you go, hey, that was pretty wild and crazy, right? Now watch this show. Now read this book, and you'll get more of the background. And
It's
I know
more interconnected. Dude, it's actually funny. I was talking with a friend of mine who isn't that big into Star Wars, but he said the one thing he really likes with Star Wars right now is that with each trilogy, at least, you have the three movies which tell like their own story, but then you have stuff that like fills in the gaps. And I'm like, dude, you're in the minority with me on this one, because there are so many people that hate that for some reason. And I'm like, no, I was so happy that my best friend since middle school was so into that concept of Star Wars. And
Yeah.
he's not even that big into he's not like, he literally isn't that big into Star Wars, and it warms my heart.
See, I have a perfect example of that, because now I've seen all of the Disney era Star Wars movies with my father, and I haven't lived in Buffalo with him, so it just happens that I've been home for Christmas or whatever. This last time I went home for my birthday, so I saw The Rise of Skywalker with him. And after The Rise of Skywalker, I said, so what did you think? And he was just like, it was really good. And I said, okay, you got any questions? Anything you want to know? And he said, no. And I said, well, what did you think about this? What did you think about that? And he was like, gave me like quick, just like general answers. And now he's seen all the Star Wars movies, but he'll never go see it again. When it's on TBS or TNT or whatever, he'll have it on.
Okay.
And watch it, but only kind of watch it. So, and I was like, well, you want to come, it was a Monday night. We went to go see it Monday afternoon. And I said, you want to come on my show and talk about it with me and my friends? He's like, nope. I said, okay. And, he watched the movie. He thought it was really good. He said it, it completed the story and everything. And I was like, okay, fine. That's a casual Star Wars fan. And, he can take the movies as what they are.
Yeah.
And, like I was saying, where you go with disbelief and, okay, how does a lightsaber work? Well, we don't know how a lightsaber works. They just tell us that it works. So, when it came out 42 years ago, they just said it worked and it was amazing. Now we'd want to know, because it's physically impossible for bombs to drop in outer space and this and that.
Somehow,
And,
even though
It's magnetic.
but
magnetic.
yeah,
1980.
but even though it happened and it's happened before, we see it now and we want to know. But he just, okay, fine. So, where we want everything filled in and everything, that's where they give us in the books and the cartoons and the comic books.
That's how they make that. They make their money.
That's one of those things that I simultaneously love and hate about Star Wars, is the obsessive compulsive attention to detail. Like as a lightsaber collector, as somebody who owns two different versions of Anakin Skywalker's lightsaber, referred to as the Graflex in saber communities, because that's what it was built from. There are the amount of people who, if you were to look up that lightsaber, you then have to specify which version of it that you want, because it looks moderately different in 3 and 4 and 5 and 7 and 8 and 9. And it's all these stupid little differences. Like Anakin's has that weird circuit board on the box. Okay. In 4 and 5, one has a bubble strip, one has just like a blank, it has like a silver box, and in the Force Awakens, there's a bubble strip again, and in Episode 8, it's a slightly different bubble strip. The length of the ears are different. The buttons on the sides are slightly different colors. Like, there's all of these like weird, stupid things. It's like, I want that specific version. I need this shade of chrome if I can consider this an actual replica. And it is, again, like, it is simultaneously endearing and also infuriating.
It's kind of frightening.
Yeah, it is frightening. Like, you know, like, we're all hung up on this glow stick. Why? Great question. But me personally, I like the Anakin one. But that's just me.
Maybe it's good to be people
Okay,
hung up on
speaking of-
that. I mean, it's the human mind. We want to be creative, so let's do it.
Speaking of lightsabers, I have a question for Connor.
Hello.
How many times have you rebuilt your lightsaber in Fallen Order?
So the only time I ever fully customized it was just to like get the achievement, because I love Geritopol's emitter so much. I cannot part with that emitter. I really cannot. And literally the only time I ever really change it is maybe I change the sleeve, or maybe I change the switch. And when I was going through the different stuff, like the different materials that I got, when I looked at the Umbaran campaign content, for some reason, I felt that the switch, the sleeve, and just the material fit Geritopol's saber better than what his actual saber looked like. It's like this really weird thing. So that's what my current saber is. I think the only other thing I change is the emitter on the bottom, because I want to make the emitter on the bottom look like it's a single blade as much, because if it were up to me, I'd never get the double blade, because I love my symbolism, and I love just the look of the single blade. But like the double blade's pretty useful in some situations, but I almost never use it. So hopefully that answers your question. I almost never change the
Yeah, I rely on that second blade way too much. With that, Spencer, have you returned, sir? Good talk. So we're going to move on to our...
there he is. He is muted.
There he is.
Yeah, I heard you say my name and then you cut out completely, and so I was just kind of like waiting around, and then you said good talk. I'm like, no, wait.
No,
I was making sure you were back.
It wasn't my fault.
I swear, baby, I didn't mean it.
I did actually.
So we have a new
gonna
episode of
talk
Clone Wars
about-
this week.
Yeah. Talking about Ahsoka's poor fashion sense.
Ooh.
Whoa.
Do you not like Ahsoka the Riveter?
I'm pretty sure.
Oh, that's what it is. I'm down for it.
Oh,
Are you okay?
now I get it.
I honestly
get it.
think sometimes Mike just has a stroke.
I think you're right. I think he has too much like big brain energy that like eventually like he kind of like pops that gasket for a second and then comes back
has
down.
to let off some steam.
Yeah.
Pretty sure denim on denim
good,
was
Mike?
over even before Star Wars started.
Even before.
Yeah, and he was right.
Chronologically.
Levi, point out what you noticed about the colors too, please. That like
The blue on her Leku just ever so slightly doesn't even match the blue of the denim.
I love that Levi Baum has become Star Wars fashion police, and I'm loving every second
But
of it.
I think bell bottoms are cute.
But I
I
think
still think
it's
bell bottoms are adorable.
I think
I wish
it
they need
goes
to
to show
bring those back. Bring them back.
bring back capes. I think it goes to show
Capes and bell bottoms.
that Ahsoka's life was the Jedi Order. That's all she knew.
Yeah.
So, like, she doesn't know that
Now she dresses like Jay
you're not
Leno.
supposed to. Yeah.
Driving around his steam-powered cars.
Yeah, look what
Yeah,
I'm
look
doing.
at my
Really
steam-powered
not
car.
supposed
Yeah,
to be
look
doing
at that.
this.
Yeah.
You know?
But you look great.
Dark on dark, but it's not the same shade of dark.
Yeah, but you also have your hoodie zipped up, probably, because it's the UA hoodie, so like it
Yeah.
offsets
I do.
it.
Now you got to do that. What's it called? A French tuck?
Oh, is that?
What is the French? Wait,
Is
what
it the
that?
e-boy
It's
tuck?
whenever
in,
you
half
take-
out.
Yeah, it's whenever you kind of like take the front and you just tuck it under your belt.
Oh, okay. I've seen
Yeah,
it, but
there
like,
you go.
wait, let me try it.
I'm too skinny fat for that.
I'm too fat for that. I just look
totally do.
disheveled.
We totally just derailed.
We did so hard.
Her new best friend Trace has a lot better fashion sense.
She does. The hair's a good touch too. She's rocking it.
All right.
I
Dude, the
love
Marquez sisters are dope.
The chocolate covered
those girls
broccoli
got
hair.
fashion sense.
No, it's pineco hair. She's got pine cones on her head.
Can we ask
trying
Phil
to grow
what
a
the
tree.
heck the purpose of this episode was? Because, okay,
It's to
It
show
was
Ahsoka
slow.
trying to like
Dude,
live a
it's
life beyond the
character
Jedi.
building.
It was really slow.
No,
it was
I
really
know.
slow, and I
Yeah.
thought the writing was horrible.
Yeah, like the way they talked to each other was kind of like, come
What's
here,
her name?
help me. What
Trace?
is-
Trace.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
then-
like
My
there
name
were
is
mo-
Trace.
Right.
What?
She was like,
My
"Oh,
name-
you can stay however long you want," and like everything
Yeah.
she said was back to back and just didn't flow very well.
Yeah.
it was choppy.
There was some weird line delivery. I'll give you that much.
Real life could be like that, but not that hard sometimes.
It was
you know?
like they
Yeah.
recorded each little sentence separately and
Yeah,
chopped
without them
together.
talking to each other in real life. Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
think it flowed either.
Yeah.
And even in the fight scenes, and maybe they meant it this way, but it didn't feel just. I
Yeah,
don't know.
'cause-
It didn't feel like they were actually.
It didn't feel
fighting.
like Clone Wars
Yeah.
writing.
Could have been
Yeah.
with the music too.
And Levi
Could've been
pointed it
having
out.
to do with music. What did I point out?
You pointed out that, like, you know, this is more about Ahsoka's development as a character, and and I
Yeah.
think you were right. So, like,
And
I
I'm
guess
going
that's
to
probably why it was
disagree
slower,
with you
but still, it was
respectfully,
very,
Jared.
it was like a snail. It was
Right.
like watching a snail.
And what the episode's only 25 minutes, 30
Yeah.
minutes long.
Yeah, something like
So
that.
you want something that, like,
It felt like an hour long.
it did feel like an hour long. Yeah.
I wouldn't go that far.
What were you respectfully disagreeing with me on, Levi?
I don't think this is us trying to see Ahsoka finding a new path.
I hope she
Because-
returns.
She, like, her Leku have
Have you-
Yeah, I
grown.
know.
She has gotten
I'm in
taller.
suspense.
Right. This is a few years or a year after she left, and she's back on Coruscant for some reason. We are seeing not her figuring out how to live. We're seeing her journey back to what we saw in the trailers.
See, I thought just from the way the
Yeah, I thought it was right after
announcer
she
did
left
it,
the temple.
I got the
Yeah,
I got the
same.
feeling that
I
this is not
Really?
long after.
Yeah,
she
because
left.
like it shows Anakin, then she gets on a speeder and drives away,
Yeah.
rides away, and then she's for
And then
episode.
she's trashed.
What is the growth spurt of Togrutans then?
I don't know.
Are those? These are not called Leku.
Yeah, they are.
They are.
That's what
Yeah.
you call it on Twi'leks.
Yeah.
Wait,
Those
Head
are
tails.
that's
I
the
have to see this.
species.
Calling this
And the
one out. I'm
Twi'leks
chal-
are called
challenge-
Twi'leks
I'm
because they're
challenging
twin
this.
head
I'm challenging
tails.
this. We're
That's the species.
challenging this. I
Twi'leks
think
are
you're
the
all wrong.
species.
and this is
Togruta.
exactly what guest Michael was talking about.
Togruta.
Lekus are the head tails.
Yeah, Lekus
Yeah.
are head tails. So
Twi'leks
we're gonna see
have.
what these things are called. Because I think you both are wrong. I think you're misleading the populace.
Wait, what are we talking about? Wait,
What are the things on Togruta's heads?
Leku.
No, they're not. No, they're not.
Leku,
Why
also
is this
referred to as head tails, were long, fleshy appendages that protruded from the heads of all Twi'leks, Togrutas, and male Orizolala.
Fucking lies. All right. Let's see.
Dude,
See, it sounds
Spencer,
like somebody
how-
went to Wikipedia on that. I would be the
Yeah.
nerd and I'd pick out like 6 different books and cross-reference all of them and be like, well, in
That's the
2000,
historian.
in
That's the
2001,
historian.
the Visual Dictionary said this, and then that was we did that with Boba Fett or Jango Fett because it's so in like the 2001, 2002, whatever visual dictionaries, it says that Jango Fett's parents were killed and he was then raised Mandalorian.
Yeah, they're called.
So-
Concord
That's
Dawn.
what I've been saying.
If you take that, but you take the new ones, and the newer ones,
Can't
it
hear
doesn't
them.
say that he was
Better.
it doesn't say that he was a
No,
Mandalorian.
it was good. You're good.
I love
It
that.
doesn't say that he was a Mandalorian at all. And then, but if you now you take the way what we've learned from the Mandalorian TV show, if he was raised by Mandalorians in the way of Mandalorian and Mandalore, he's a Mandalorian. Maybe not by blood, but he's a Mandalorian. So now that
ethnic
whole thing
Mandalore.
came back around.
Yeah, I like that term a lot. Ethnic Mandalore.
Well, regardless, they are characterized by their colorful skin tones, large montrals, and head tails. not called Leku. Don't ever use Leku about Togruta again. Oh.
No.
Leku is Headtail.
Damn it.
Leku is Star Wars for Headtail.
No, it
I
isn't.
love that.
right.
It was only ever used for Twi'leks.
Did you hear that in real time? Him go, oh wait, Leku. Damn it. Spencer, what did you think of the episode?
I thought it was pretty slow for a final season of my favorite TV show of all time. It was like there's only 10 episodes, right?
12.
There's 12. Okay. So even so, like in a 12 episode season, I'm going to need like every episode to be packing a wallop, especially if you have to wrap up all of these characters and you have to like lead up, you have to bridge the gap between the Clone Wars and Order 66. Like if you have that much time and space you need to fill, in my opinion, like it wasn't bad. It was just like what I would have expected from a season 4 story arc, and we're in the 11th hour at this point, and you got to make every episode count. And unless her relationship with Trace somehow explains how she gets to Mandalore or is connected with what's going on with the like, unless they can somehow very cleverly make that relevant, this entire episode makes like no difference to me whatsoever. And
I get that. I get that.
What could happen is word starts to spread that a Jedi was in the lower ranks because the little Twi'lek girl
of the kid.
saw her working her movie stuff magic.
She's a
Do the
girl
magic
though.
hand thing.
There was a winch, and so like even if some little Twi'lek girl was like, oh my gosh, I saw this girl use the Force, she must be a Jedi or something, then like people are gonna be like, no hun, that was just the winch, and you saw her like reaching out to the like you're just making stuff up,
The Force wills it. So
What I did.
Yeah, but if she describes the person and it gets back to the Jedi and they're like,
they're probably gonna get back. Let's be real here.
Ahsoka.
They wouldn't put that in there if they don't have a plan for it to pay off
But
later.
also, you have to remember, these are poor people. The rich people will not care about what these people have to say. I mean, if they're not getting their goods and services, the Jedi will not. Well, no, the Jedi would, because they're like all corrupt and like, we must interfere in these people, and it's like, why weren't you helping before? But anyway, what I did like about this episode.
Lucasfilm has been known recently to put little kids in the end of something that have absolutely nothing to do with anything else. So.
Like Broom
At
Boy.
The Last Jedi.
You mean my favorite character, Broom Boy?
Broom Boy.
No, get it, Connor. One boring Broom Boy. Get what I did there.
Boring blue.
You remember that? Yeah.
But who knows? Who knows? Broom Boy could be in episode 10. We never know.
Broom Boy is the big bad of episode 10.
I'm going to go off the rails a little bit here.
When does Fallen Order take place?
5 years after Revenge of the Sith.
Okay.
14 BBY.
Okay.
I'm one of those people that, to go off the rails a little bit from Clone Wars really quick, I'm one of those people that believe that Rey is pregnant with Kylo's Force baby, and episode 10 is going to take place after Rey's kid digs up the lightsabers, and then that they can bring Broom Boy in. That
This will make a fun addition to my collection.
I want so badly for there to be a Ben and Ray baby, and you're carrying a torch I'm not prepared to hurt myself with. So thank you.
What I really liked about this episode, though, was how it started to develop the apathy and the hatred of regular people towards the Jedi, being like, oh, the Jedi, like, they don't care about us, they hate us, and then so it helps play up to how people could reasonably turn against them after Order 66 happened. And that was really cool. I liked how they did that. Like, the Jedi don't care about us, they're bad, they hate us.
Yeah, dude, that was so dope.
I liked how
it was brilliant. That was
Ahsoka
good writing.
Went to deny that, but then didn't have anything to say because of her experiences. Like they're not what you think they are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She was kind of. She was like, well, but she couldn't really say.
Couldn't say anything.
Because if she said, that'd pretty much out her.
Wow.
So,
Yeah, for her to outright defend them, she's going to expose herself. But there's no objective argument outside of, well, I fought General Grievous.
No,
I thought General Grievous like.
Well, no, it also it wouldn't make sense for her
survived.
character because she just so
wait,
disillusioned.
Levi,
What?
say
because of
what
the
you're saying.
betrayal. Because of her betrayal.
Oh yeah,
They betrayed her. That's
Yeah.
why she can't say anything.
Well,
Because she agrees. She was gonna argue. She's like still feeling well.
That's a good
I was
point.
born and raised a Jedi. Most of my friends are Jedi, but at the same time,
the second it hit the fan.
if it didn't happen now, it would have happened eventually when her mentor decided to switch sides.
no, I'm just saying.
No, I think Levi's
point,
absolutely
Levi.
right.
Oh,
She was
Let's go back to
talking.
rewatch
Oh, the
episode.
Jedi aren't what they think. Ahsoka went to argue and then stopped herself.
I know. I
all.
think no.
That's all I was saying.
Because I didn't read it that way, and I like your read of it. Is what I'm trying to say. Is that, like I took that as like her originally kind of took that from the angle of her trying to play devil's advocate for what is the only life she ever knew, but also went, I'm not going to trample on how you feel about this. Also, I can't argue this point without saying the words, I was on the front line. I know what they're trying to do.
Yeah.
And then there's also the fact that, like, she also goes, yeah, but the Jedi are backstabbers. You know what? You might be onto something, my friend. So I didn't read it that way, and I like that,
wait a
Levi.
minute.
I really do. I think you're right.
who they thought they were.
Yeah.
I think that's why it might be interesting too when we go back 200 years and see how people thought about the Jedi and when they were defenders of peace, even though we know the little bits that we've gotten, they're going to be like the Knights of the Round Table or Arthurian legend. Were they still revered by the poor people and the commoners, or were they as hated as much now when they became warriors instead of defenders of peace?
Yeah, that's a great point. I love that. Is one of my favorite things that I think we could talk about for hours on end on its own, is just like
Oh yeah.
Jedi relations with the galactic public. One of my little favorite moments, and again, even though Ahsoka is coming off of this very ugly falling out with the Jedi, is the fact that she may not love the institution, but you can tell that she still loves the people. Like, just for shorthand, she just refers to Anakin as her big brother. With the whole, where'd you learn to fight like
Dude,
that? Oh, my older brother showed
that got me misty-eyed, not gonna lie.
No, that made my heart happy. Where I
Are
was
we
like,
sure this is right after she was kicked out?
I feel like it is.
Because she's obviously older. Like, she's quite obviously older.
You mean like from the episode itself?
I
Like,
mean-
As in taller, her hair is longer.
what's the episode called? I want to do some.
Gone with a
Without a
trace.
Trace.
With a trace.
Gone with a trace.
When she gets like kicked
Gone
out.
with a Trace.
Because her
okay.
name's
No,
Trace.
Because the girl's
No,
name is
what-
Grace.
what's the name of
Thank you, gentlemen, for clarifying why the episode is called Trace.
Oh, that.
Thank you.
Spencer, you might be able to help. What was the name of the episode where Ahsoka walks?
It's called Gone with a Trace.
No, where she well, when she leaves the Order.
Oh, The Wrong Jedi.
I think that's it.
I want to see. I want to compare.
That's one of the episodes in the arc. But I
Yeah,
can't-
hold on. Let me
Why does this
pull her
matter?
up.
Well, you might be.
No, so he can like compare the Leku.
Yeah, the wrong Jedi.
Holy
Compare
shit!
them.
Yeah,
They're
she's.
so...
Yeah, she.
But we
She's
were also
older.
told that this season doesn't go in chronological order because they wanted to put out the Bad Batch first because we've already seen that,
I think also
And
Levi.
then-
I'm sorry.
and then put in the Ahsoka episodes in the middle, and then the Siege of Mandalore last because those tie together with more like the Ahsoka centric episodes. So the Bad Batch could be in the middle, and these could be the first four could actually be like they could have done it like the original movies. The first four go in the middle, and the Ahsoka ones go in the front, and then the Siege is the last. So
Levi, I think the like
Shit, that is confusing. Yeah.
I think the little discrepancy with Ahsoka's appearance might also have something to do with the improved animation and the fact that like
Really?
yeah, because like if like Anakin looks slightly different, Obi-Wan's beard looks slightly more like a human's beard.
But they were older.
Yeah,
It's
she's
meant to
literally.
reflect-
Yeah, I
that's
agree with
meant to
Levi now.
reflect
I'm looking at
episode
this.
3, Anakin and Obi-Wan. And with the better technology, they can do that.
They might-
Yeah, that's
But
the other. Yeah, there's so many moving
Are you-
parts.
I don't think they were so limited back then as to say, well, we can't extend her hair.
I think we're belaboring the point.
Yeah,
No, this is. Wait.
So I really don't think this is right after she was kicked out.
I'm not sure, and I'm trying to remember back
obviously
to the
taller, and her hair
remember
is longer.
back to the Ahsoka novel to figure out if she left Coruscant after she left the Order or not. I don't. She may not have either left Coruscant.
I mean, I'm
'cause
not. I haven't finished it yet, but I don't think there was any indication of Coruscant being in the
so
book.
we could all be right, and she's just never left Coruscant, and there is a time jump.
Yeah,
Which
But they made it confusing. They didn't do a good job of telling that story. They could have said like, no, like months later, like they all. But it made like she goes off on speeder from Anakin, then we see her on speeder
Again.
fall into a hole. So that makes you think that it's
Yeah,
10
but she's
seconds
wearing
after.
denim this time. So
That's true. That's
Yeah,
right.
right.
That's right.
So what- yeah.
So yeah. Okay. Let's
The
assume
timeline is muddled. Yeah,
But let's
absolutely.
assume then that it is after she's left. She's not left Coruscant yet, but there's been like 6 months.
at the very least.
That is the. Yeah.
I did.
Long enough for Anakin to grow out his mullet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Long enough for him to grow out his mullet and Obi-Wan to find a way to make his beard look
And to get
like a
like
beard.
Confirmed, by the way, it was the wrong Jedi.
Okay.
Yeah, you were right. Yeah.
Cool.
Yes.
But yeah, no, I enjoyed this episode on the whole. I think a lot of this is going to be Ahsoka trying to square moving on from the Jedi with recognizing that will always be a part of her. I liked the story beats that we got of Ahsoka trying to throw in with a crowd that isn't really for her. Like, I think that she legitimately likes Trace a lot, and I think that, I think with time she would learn to get along with Rafa. But I think that she, at her core, needs to be around a group of people who are an objective good. And there isn't that, like, I'll do the good thing, but where's my check? Where she's just very like, no, you do the good thing because good thing. And I like seeing that crisis for her.
That was so lit when Trace says, no, when Ahsoka asks like why you're helping me, and Trace says, oh, it just seems like the right thing to do. I was, my heart grew 3 sizes.
A feeling.
I was so happy.
I have to tell you something.
I also I want to see what happens with Trace and Rafa, and I agree with you, Spencer. This is I understand why they would want to show us what's happening with Ahsoka right now in her life before dovetailing into the siege of Mandalore and her in an unofficial way rejoining the Order, only for the Order to collapse right after that. And I understand wanting to show that, but also, like, I don't know that we have time for us to try to get invested in Rafa and Trace.
Yeah, I don't.
Like, I don't think we have
like,
enough time here.
and they didn't really do
It
much
seems
for this
like-
episode.
It seems like the start of its own spin-off, which we can't really afford to invest in at this point in the show.
Yeah.
I want to watch more pissed off Anakin. That's what I want to see. That's what I'm paying my money
War
for.
Crimes Skywalker.
I mean, War Crimes edition.
I mean, dude, we have enough content of pissed off Anakin. We have 3 movies.
yeah.
Well, 6 movies.
Connor, I don't care. I want more War Crimes.
No, I get it. I get it.
You will not kill me.
Did we really see a war crime in that episode, though?
By Jedi standards, yes. Because he easily could have taken Trench
He's a
prisoner.
general.
You're right,
Yeah.
but he could have taken
I was
Trench
like, he's
prisoner.
gonna die.
'Cause he's a
Like,
Jedi.
I literally
Didn't have
watched
to.
Which also vaguely
the
doesn't
Bad
make.
Batch episode.
But when we see what he did to Trench, it doesn't make like the episode 3 thing with Dooku make any sense. Like, I shouldn't. Like at that point, he'd like, and he'd do it with a smile on his face.
I mean,
the big bad like
The big bad like yeet.
I shouldn't. Like, no, that doesn't make any damn sense. And that's one of the things that annoys me about these Clone Wars episodes, of the whole idea of it in general. But I understand. Making money, so.
I really do look forward to seeing where this arc goes from here. I really do want to see. I want to get an explicit dive into Ahsoka's headspace, because I don't know how long they could do the whole her hiding her Force abilities from Trace and Rafa. I don't know how long that's sustainable. I
thought it was gonna be like, you're a Jedi, like get the fuck out of here, because that's a great story. That's one of the like they realized someone comes in who has a power, they don't want it to be known, they use it for good, then it's like, you have that? Like, you're part of these people who we hate. Get out.
And I don't want to
I was hoping for that kind of. I was hoping
I was expecting that for a hot second. I was expecting.
This is a 4-episode arc. It's gonna happen.
Yeah. It's another 4 episodes. Oh, sweet Christ!
My idea was
cool
that
with
it was going to be 3 episodes for the first arc, and we were going to have, so they would have cut that down to 3, and then this would have been like 2 episodes of her hiding out and building a rapport with the family or with the girls, but the girls being traumatized more by the Jedi, like their mother or father was a criminal that the Jedi imprisoned or did something like that. That's why they hated them. And then Ahsoka would have to make them learn that the Jedi really weren't that bad, and then it would tie
But the
into...
Jedi do kind of suck a little bit.
Well, I mean...
Suck a lot. Let's be real here.
I mean, they do, but it's the best...
No, I get what you're getting at, Michael. I'm just... I like the shit
spend more
Jedi.
time on the Siege of Mandalore, because who doesn't want a 6-arc Mandalorian Jedi war going on?
Right.
But hey, I don't write the stories. They don't think that I know shit compared to what these guys know, so I don't make any money. I just sit here and talk with a bunch of nerds about it, so that's where I stand in my fandom.
All we can do is kind of like armchair show run. But sorry.
I want to go back to when we were talking about I do this a lot on my show too. If you guys have ever watched my show, like it would be an hour after we talked about something, I'm like, oh yeah, by the way, I want to say this, because I don't do show notes or anything. With Rosario Dawson, the worst thing I've seen about Rosario Dawson on why she should not be Ahsoka Tano, because her boobs are too big. That was what somebody on Twitter said.
That's a black hole of its own.
That's a very interesting problem to have.
Dude, like, you're going to tell me you don't want to see a pretty girl with big boobs? Okay, you go back down to your mom's basement. I don't really know what to tell you.
Yeah.
Because I thought you were going to talk about the those allegations or whatnot.
Oh, no, I was going to bring that up. Because I mean, they're just allegations. Somebody said she said something or did something, and nothing's been proven. Nothing's been really said about it afterward, so...
Are Padme's boobs to scale in the Clone Wars?
Yeah. Why are we worried about boob scale?
Well,
why is this a
I
problem?
think a lot of those
not the
people that are gonna bring up
demographic of
boob
people
scale,
who should be having this conversation.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people that are going to bring up boob scale probably need to worry more about boob scale or boobs in general. If that's going to be your
I thought
your
the Clone
argument.
Wars episode was
Yeah, I thought it was. Yeah, like I was hoping
not great.
Wait, I
and
can't hear.
I think we should just continue talking about that.
With that,
Connor, is it a ghost again?
No, it's my sister.
Oh, okay.
no, it's just Cookie Cop haunting us all.
No, legitimately
it's a
though,
ghost.
I stand by my
It's a
comments
ghost.
earlier.
Let's
I didn't
be
like
real
the
here.
writing
My
for
house
the
is
episode.
haunted.
No, but all right, so
Coronavirus.
Good idea is not good in
infected it.
practice.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely
try
true.
not to derail the conversation. I was kind of I wanted more out of this episode. I think that they could have had it be more, not necessarily action packed, but more packed full of stuff, just making us want more of a story versus just kind of like they kind of lollygagged, like hey, here's the story, instead of giving us, like, making us want to come back for more.
Yeah, I can agree with that. I don't think we have the time for this quite yet. But yeah, I am still looking forward to the rest of the season and the rest of this arc, and I do hope that Rafa and Trace become characters that I am invested in, without the whole season being about random Coruscanti citizens, because I like when those stories more pertain to the actual war itself.
That makes sense.
With that, Darth Id Mike, where can the lovely people find you?
You can find me on Twitter at DarthId415. Woo!
The Mr. Professor Dr. Levi.
Yeah, what's up?
Where can the lovely people find you?
You can find me on Twitter at Levi Bomb or Professor Levi, whatever.
You sound so depressed right now.
Twitter sucks, dude. Get off.
But you're enjoying it more and more.
I mean,
No.
is he wrong?
I'm on it more.
Same.
Joel, where can the lovely people find you, sir?
The lovely people can find me at Bass and Bacon Cosplay on Instagram. I can't do this anymore without thinking of the one time.
And then they can follow.
And they can also follow my photography Instagram, jbasenback photography, where you can see my lovely artistic ability. And if you don't know why we're laughing hysterically, then you haven't watched our show enough.
Spencer, where can the lovely people find you, my boy?
You guys can find me on Instagram at SpenceMan Cosplays and on Twitter at SpenceMan49. Check it out.
And lovely guest Michael, where can the I'm going to give you the most time to plug all your stuff. Connor, where can the people find you?
They can find me on Twitter at DepaBanana. They can find me on Instagram at ConmanJFO. And they can find me on Facebook, admin in the Alliance of Star Wars Fanatics, a Facebook group where our entire mission is to positively, respectfully, and constructively discuss Star Wars, how it should be discussed,
Excellent.
and not in all the other groups.
No, I don't want to talk about the other Facebook groups. Not without having a non-flashback. And
PTSD.
Mr. the Condor, where can the lovely people find you and everything that you're working on, sir?
I'm on the social medias at Toomedtoo. It's TOOMEDTOO. If you look for me on YouTube, you actually have to hit search. It doesn't come up unless you hit the search button for it for some reason.
Oh.
Yeah, that's weird because I know with us, our name is so specific that it does come up pretty easily. Mm-hmm. So that's strange. That's unfortunate.
Because when I got my name, I went for a deep dive, and I'm in nursing school, so I went. Toomedtoo is the only named 2-1B droid in Star Wars, or was at the time a couple years ago. So that's where I got the name. He's got 2 pages in a book and 2 pages in a comic book, and that's why it's so obscure. No one even knows what it is. But yeah, I kind of shot myself in the foot with that one.
I'm sure eventually there will be some Star Wars clickbait YouTube channel that'll do the secret origins behind Toomedtoo, the forbidden force ability that Toomedtoo used to revive Luke on Hoth. You guys can find me on Twitter and Instagram at DarkJedi2552, and you can find the Nerd Academy on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube, as well as checking out our website, www.thenerdacademypodcast.com. And if you're feeling generous and want to chuck us a couple credits, be sure to check out our Patreon at www.patreon.com/thenerdacademypodcast. It's podcast on there as well?
Yes, I believe
Okay, cool. There's also a link on our website, so do it that way as well. With that, thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much to Toomedtoo for joining us this week for this lovely little jaunt through that galaxy far, far away. We are honored that you all have joined us, and may the Force be with you always.
Class dismissed.